Now to Njanji Chowke, our reporter who's tracking those proceedings for us in Pretoria. Good afternoon, Njanji, and welcome to the PM News Desk. Well, Kasrils, he did defend the deal at the time, but he has since become a very vocal critic of the ANC, and he's also well placed to provide us with insight into the inner workings of the deal. How much of light did he shed today in this regard, Njanji?
Yeah, even though Ronnie Kasrils is singing from a different hymn book, when it comes to the hearing here, he's been towing that official line. What we've heard him saying here since midday today, because he started testifying around midday, he's been saying that as the Deputy Defense Minister, he was not a cabinet member. So there is no way in which he could have influenced executive decision, meaning he was not party to the executive decision that was made by cabinet in terms of which arms suppliers to choose or in terms of what type of equipment to acquire. As we speak to you right now, Ronnie Kasrils is still being grilled by one of the evidence leaders, and at the moment they're looking into the issue of why the request for offers were issued before the finalization of the defense review. Well, Ronnie Kasrils telling the commission that at the time we were doing window shopping. Before you could buy something, there's nothing wrong with doing that window shopping, speaking to a number of countries even before the defense review was finalized in 1998, Kashmir.
Njanji, you're saying that Mr. Kasrils is himself saying that he was not party to these executive decisions at the time. But we do know that there are no obvious allegations of corruption against Mr. Kasrils, so it is unlikely that he will face any difficult or tough questions. But was he asked about Minister Joe Modise at the time, his thinking around the time when those decisions on the arms deal were taken?
Yes, the former Deputy Defense Minister saying that although he was very close to the late former Defense Minister Joe Modise, he was not privy to the matters that he was dealing with as the defense minister. As he said earlier, that as a deputy defense minister, you don't serve in the executive, so you have very little influence, even though he did mention to the commission that from time to time, the defense minister at the time, Joe Modise, would delegate certain duties to him. So it will be interesting to see what will happen going forward. But I have to say that they have deployed some of the top lawyers. Earlier, before I could come out and speak to you, Advocate Marumo Merwani, we saw him calling the evidence leader, Simili Bala, to order, saying there's no way that you can blame Ronnie Kasrils for decisions that were taken by Joe Modise. And unfortunately, Joe Modise is late. He's not here to speak for himself.
Njanji, this commission is really heating up now. Who are some of the other political heavyweights we can expect in the dock later on or next week?
They're expecting to wrap up this testimony by Ronnie Kasrils today. A number of people have lined up to cross-examine him. Earlier we saw the whistleblower, Terry Crawford Brown, the man who even took the president, Jacob Zuma, to court, insisting that there be a commission of inquiry. He's also here to cross-examine him. There are lawyers for human rights who are also ready to cross-examine Ronnie Kasrils. And going forward on Monday, we are expecting to see the former government chief negotiator, Jayan Ranaidu, taking the stand. Next week as well, on the lineup is the former defense minister, Musiwa Lekota, as well as the former finance minister, Trevor Manuel. And finally, it will be the big fish himself, the former president, Thabo Mbeki, who is expected to wrap up the first phase of this commission of inquiry. Then it will go into the second phase, where the people that have been implicated will be called to come through and testify.
Thank you. That was our reporter Njanji Chauke at the commission underway in Pretoria. Jay Naidu, Musiwe Lekoto, Trevor Manuel expected to testify at the commission.